And good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Harry Highlights. It's been a long, long time since we had our last episode. A crazy last couple of weeks in terms of scheduling. We had a bunch of snowstorms, we had a bunch of cancellations due to this nasty weather here in New York City. Hopefully, all of you guys are staying warm and you guys are staying safe out there. And welcome back to another episode of Harry Highlights. Yes, sirree. This is the podcast that brings you sports coverage and news around Iona, New York, and all around the nation. So a lot of headlines this past couple of weeks in terms with we had the Olympics going on, we have both Iona men's and women's basketball teams getting ready for the MAC tournament in Atlantic City. We have the men starting on Thursday. They take on Sacred Heart, and we have the women starting this week. So let's get it going, shall we? So, first off, I want to talk about the men. So, the men's played Manhattan yesterday. So, yesterday, the Iona Gales traveled to Manhattan to take on the Manhattan Jaspers. The Gales went on the road and won a thrilling game 69 to 67. The Iona Gales led for most of the game with the Iona Gales led most of the game as they finished their season 18 and 13 on the season as they sweep the season series against the Manhattan Jaspers. Luke Jungers had a nice game yesterday, shooting 4 for 6 from the 3-point range, dropped 13 points. CJ Anthony led the Gales in scoring yesterday when he scored 16 points, was 6 for 13 from the field, followed by another outstanding stellar performance from Cozy Akamentu. Cozy Akamentu had 15 points yesterday and was 6 for 12 from the field. CJ Anthony led the Gales and my apologies. Marco Pandeleschio, Kaylee Bedro led the Gales in free throws as he was 6 for 8 from the field yesterday. Yesterday the Gales, yesterday for the Gales, Lamine Sabali and Dever Anglin were on the bench because they're getting ready for the MAC tournament. But yesterday the Gales led for most of the game. It was a thrilling game. The Gales were 41.8 from field goal range. They hit 23 out of 55 field goals. They hit 9 of their 28 three-pointers. And their free throws were 14 from 23. The Gales led the game in rebounding with a total of 43 rebounds. They rebounded the Manhattan Jaspers yesterday by 10 rebounds. So yesterday was a thrilling game for not for the Manhattan Jaspers, for the Iona Gales, as it was a game that was neck and neck. I mean, the game came down to the last second when Manhattan, they got the ball back, but they missed that key jump shot that could have tied the game. But then the Gales, Reed, CJ Anthony, and everyone on the floor, when they had the opportunity to hit their free throws to seal the game, they capitalized on their free throw shooting. And as we take a look at the Gales' field goal percentage, they only hit 23 of their 55 field goals. So that's an okay stat line, but I think for the Gales, one thing they're going to have to work on and rely on, especially in the MAC tournament, is their three-point shooting. I know Luke Jungers, who had a great game, his three-point shooting was good. I want to talk about Cozy Akamentu for a second, because Cozy had another great game on Sunday, and on Friday he had a great game against Ryder. He was in double figures when he was when he played against Ryder. And yesterday I went to Riverdale and I watched the Gales take on the Manhattan Jaspers, and Cozy Akamentu looked really good from 3-point range. Like, his stroke was good. His His jump shot looked good, and he was just finding ways to get open on the perimeter. And he was just every time when he needed to knock down a big three for the Gales, he converted. And I think Cozy, these back-to-back games that has really helped him and has really helped his offensive play for the Gales. Yeah, yesterday the Manhattan Jaspers, they were giving the Gales a run for their money, and it was this close. Like Manhattan went on a little bit of a run. Like when the Gales would score a bucket, the Jaspers would answer right back, and the Jaspers had a chance to send this game to overtime, but just couldn't capitalize on their 3-point shooting and couldn't capitalize on getting offensive rebounds as the Gales basically just out rebounded them. They had more offensive and defensive rebounds in that game. I'm taking a look at Manhattan stats right now. They were only 21 from six. They only were hit 21 threes out of their 64 threes they had in the game, and they shot about 8% less than the Gale shot from 3-point range. But the Jaspers, they played well. Their free throw shooting was good. They hit 16 out of their 19 free throws, and they were 84% from free throw range. But the Jaspers, they did an excellent job. This game was very competitive. This wasn't a blowout by all. This game was neck and neck. Manhattan only lost by like 4 or more points to Iona. So this game was neck and neck. But I want to turn it over to the women's for a second. So the Iona women's basketball team is getting ready. The Iona women's basketball team, they're getting ready for the MAC tournament coming up. And yeah, this team's been playing basketball at the right time. So right now, the Iona Gales, the women finished off their season on Thursday against the Manhattan Jaspers as well. That game, though, was here at the Hack. The Gales won 65-59. And once again, Zoe Ward getting the job done. Isabella Middleton getting the job done for the Gales as well, as Zoe Ward scored 12 points. Isabella Middleton scoring 14 points as well. Ella Fajardo coming in clutch again. And Maya Sacanini coming in clutch again for the Gales as they responded as well, as they both scored 13 points. Ella Fajardo played 34 minutes. Maya Zaccanini 27 minutes, and both shot. Maya Zaccanini was 4 from 7 from field goal range, and all four of those players coming up clutch for the Gales and helping the Gales get another signature win. And when I take a look at this Iona Gales women's basketball team, you got Zoe Ward, you got Isabella Middleton, you got Maya Zaccanini, who's playing much better and who's been phenomenal in the second half of the season. And you got Ella Fajardo, who I talk a lot about when I called both of my Iona women's basketball games in the Maris game and especially in the Ryder game, about how she's been able to come off the bench and how she's been able to be in the starting five and really be a game changing type player, and how she's been able to help this Gales offense and defense in terms with shooting and giving them a spark on defense. And she played a phenomenal game against the Manhattan Jaspers. And I really, her stats and her attributes um and her great play really speaks volume about how well she is fit into this Gales system. And yeah, she's really helped the Gales come up with some big time wins and really has helped catapult um the Gales' success moving forward as we get ready to head to Atlantic City. And I look for the Gales to get and I look for the Gales. I look for the Iona women's basketball team. She's definitely going to be an X factor in that game. She's one of my X factors for the Gales. If the Gales want to make a run in the MAC tournament and have any hopes of playing in the NCAA tournament and being a part of March Madness later on. So yeah, I mean, both the men's and women's are playing exceptional basketball at the right time. And let I want to talk about let's preview the schedule, shall we? Okay, so first schedule we have is the Iona women's basketball team. They're the fourth ranked team. They're the fourth ranked team in the MAC, and they will have to play Siena. So we're going to talk about the women's bracket right now for the MAC tournament. So you got Manhattan, who's the eighth seed, who has to go up against Maris on March 5th at 12 o'clock. You got Sacred Heart and St. Peter's. Sacred Heart's the seventh seed. St. Peter's is the 10th seed. And they have to play at 2:30. They have to play at 2:30 on March 5th as well. You got Quinnipiac, who's the number one seed. The Gales have to take on Siena in the quarterfinals. Iona's the fourth seed. Siena's the fifth. Fairfield gets another first round bye as they're the second seed. And you got Merrimack, who's the third seed, and they have to take on the Mount St. Mary. They have to take on Mount St. Mary's in the quarterfinal. So for the Gales, they get a first round bye, and they just have to take it one game at a time, and they'll and if they're able to win a thrilling game against Siena on um over this weekend, then they'll have to either play Quinnipiac or the winner of the Manhattan Maris game. But it's all about taking it one step at a time. And I think for the Gales, they're in a good position. They're playing exceptional basketball, but it's all going to come down to can they rebound um and can they outscore Siena's team, because Siena is they're pretty competitive and they got some really good players over there. But it's going to be interesting to see. But let's throw it over to the men's bracket. The uh, Iona men's. So they start on Thursday. They take on Sacred Heart Thursday night. And as we all know, the Gales went into Fairfield, Connecticut, and they beat Sacred Heart at the beginning of the year. They won 81-69 against the Sacred Heart Pioneers at Fairfield, Connecticut. And this is going to be an interesting game for the Iona Gales. Is they do not get a first round bye. They're not in the quarterfinals. They have to play to get into the quarterfinals, but the winner of the Iona Sacred Heart game will have to go up against Merrimack. And Merrimack did the number one seed in the MAC tournament. Obviously, they were in the top five throughout the season. They've definitely been one of the best teams in the MAC for a while now, and the Iona Gales they split the season series with Merrimack. We beat them. Iona beat them at home when Merrimack came here to the Hack, and then we went on the road and lost a tough game against Merrimack. But I just remember when we beat Merrimack here at the Hack when Toby Harris hit that game-winning three. That was a tough game, and I remember seeing Merrimack. They had so many great shooters, so many great defenders that know how to create turnovers. But I definitely can see the Gales. Um, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna make a selection right now because I don't want to give up the Gales' hopes. I don't want to give up both teams' hopes, but I think it's going to be a great game. I definitely know Sacred Heart is going to be competitive. This is the playoffs now, and anything can happen in March. expect the unexpected, as the famous Iron Eagle has said. Um, but yeah, this is March Madness, and this is when basketball starts to ramp up here, and anything can happen. And I do like the Gales' chances against Sacred Heart, but again, anything can happen, and it all it all depends on who's going to show up to play and who's going to show up and make all the 3 pointers in the world, all the defensive stops in the world, and whoever wants to win this game and whoever wants to make a great run and get to the MAC championship and play further in March is going to win this game. Um, okay, so we're going to take a break here. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the NHL. We're going to talk about the NFL. We're going to talk about MLB. Spring training is coming up. And we're going to talk about we're gonna talk about the we're gonna cover the Olympics because we have to do that. So we'll be back in a few minutes after this short break.
Untouchable, unstoppable.
This is WIUR Sports Radio.
Hi, I'm Robbie Basil, president of WIUR Radio, and I hope you're enjoying today's show. Have you ever wanted to call the biggest games, the biggest moments for the biggest names for Iona Athletics? Then the newly founded WIUR Sports Radio is the place to be. Launched in January of 2025, our goal is to try and get broadcasters here at Iona an opportunity to learn, succeed, and get a chance to be on air. From getting to call the big moments at the hack,
Dinkins trying to go to the rack. Denied! Denied! Yafet Mundi with
to seeing the crack of the bat at City Park.
the line drive into left field, around third, and it kicks away. The Gales are going to win it in 10.
We make those moments happen on our brand new WIUR Sports Radio platform on Mixer. If you're interested, feel free to reach out to me via email or to the rest of my e-board to join the club. We are WIUR Sports Radio, the new home of Iona Athletics. Now, back to the show on WIUR, Iona University Radio.
We are back after the intermission. So, if you're new to WIUR, I'm Harry Fisher, and this is Harry Highlights. And just want to give everyone a reminder. Sorry about the delay over the last couple of weeks. We haven't been able to do an episode of Harry Highlights due to some cancellations of classes and due to some nasty weather from snowstorms and from the cold, nasty weather out there. So hopefully all of you guys are staying safe and you're staying warm, and hopefully the weather can get a little better. The weather can get a little better as we head towards March and April. But let's get let's get back into it. And we got to talk about the Olympics because that game was unbelievable. I have never seen a game like that. I have never seen a game that much I have never seen a game that much intense and that much enjoyable. I've never seen 20,000, not 20,000, millions of people sit down and watch a hockey game at 9 o'clock in the morning than what just happened in the gold medal game. The United States and Canada on last Sunday at 9 o'clock in the morning took center stage in Milan and battled it out for the gold medal. The game was neck and neck. The United States struck first on that brilliant goal that was scored from Matthew Boldy, and then Canada retaliated when Cale Makar scored the game-tying goal in the third period, and it was neck and neck. Canada had so many scoring chances, but Connor Hellebuck was the storyline of the game as he made a handful of saves. He was the MVP of the game, and the reason why the United States was in that game and had a chance of winning the gold medal. And then to cap it all off, the golden goal scored by Jack Hughes, who scored the game winning golden goal on a brilliant pass from Zach Wierenski to win the gold medal for the United States. The United States win their first gold medal for the first time in over 40 years, since the 1980 miracle when the United States defeated the Soviet Union, and that amazing historic game in 1980 when they defeated the Soviet Union. So I remember a couple of weeks ago we talked about the United States' chances on paper and how many injuries the United States had going into this tournament. You had Jack Hughes that was coming off of an injury. You had both Matthew and Brady Kachuk that were coming off of an injury. You had Charlie McAvoy, who got injured prior to the tournament, but luckily he was okay and he got out there on the ice and he battled through it. But just this US team coming together and going up against this star-studded Canadian roster, and up and down, as we know, Canada, they're star-studded. They got star power on every level with Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Kale McCarr, and all of these great players and all of these stud skaters and stud hockey players that are just physical and aggressive and are superstars at every level. But the Canadians really struggled in this game, and they struggled to the semifinal game prior when they went up against Finland. They won in overtime in that game 3-2, but unfortunately for Canada, they did have some injuries. You had Sidney Crosby was injured. Hopefully he's okay, but I know that was a big loss for the Canadians. The Canadians, they were a little shorthanded and they didn't have that same firepower as we saw them play with for the first couple of weeks. Obviously, I got to give credit to Macklin Celebrini because Celebrini was the best player on that team because he led the team in scoring and he was dynamic in every fashion you could have imagined. But the storyline of the game was Connor Hellebuck. Connor Hellebuck, an amazing performance, was given a medal. Was given a medal of valid by the was given a medal by President Trump for his great performance and giving the United States a gold medal. And I got to give credit to Jack Hughes. He had one heck of a tournament. He played well. And when he had the opportunity to score the golden goal for the United States, he came up clutch. And I root for Jack Hughes. Obviously, I'm a Rangers fan. And, every time when he goes up against the Rangers, it makes me so mad because he's just so good of a player and he always kills the Rangers with his great play and all of his great capabilities and all of his great abilities he can do on the ice. But props to the United States. They played well. Everyone came together and everyone shut down uh, all the teams they went up against, and they found a way to shut down Canada and take the gold medal from them when they needed to. Let's move it over to the NFL. So free agencies open up. So obviously we got the Giants. The Giants, Giants one offseason storyline is they hired John Harbaugh. They have a brand new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator and Matt Nagy and Demarcus Robinson. So obviously John Harbaugh is making some moves. We'll see what the Giants are going to do because you have Wandale Robinson, who's expected to become a free agent this offseason. And you got a ton of players that are out there that I know the Giants are looking to target. You have Tyler Linderbaum, who's a great offensive lineman. If I'm the Giants, I would I would target him 100% to sign in free agency because the Giants need to do some work on their offensive line. But I like where the Giants are. I like the position that they are in. And I just think if they can all come together and everyone can stay healthy, they have a chance of being an over 500 team next season. Let's move it over to the MLB. You got the Mets and the Yankees. Spring training starting up. We already know that the Yankees, Aaron Judge has played a couple of games. For the Mets, Juan Soto and some of the Mets' new acquisitions have been getting some run in spring training. On Friday, I do want to mention this for the Mets. Freddie Peralta, the blockbuster trade that they made this offseason, made his spring training debut for the Mets on Friday. He pitched 3 innings, had a solid outing for the Mets. As he pitched for 3 innings and didn't allow one single run for the 3 innings he pitched. And Freddie Peralta already making an impact for the Mets, as a lot of Met fans hope that he will be the ace this offseason, but we'll have to see for the future. All right, that's gonna do it for Harry highlights. We'll keep you updated next week about news going around the NHL, the MLB, the NFL, and all around the sports world. And we'll be back to recap what both the men's and women's team do in the MAC tournament. So long, everybody. Have a great rest of your day and stay warm and stay safe out there. Thank you, everyone. And keep listening in to WIUR.